What's up guys, I'm Andy from 1A Auto. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the Serpentine belt tensioner and belt on this 2010 Toyota Rav4. If you need these parts or other parts for your vehicle, click the link in the description and head over to 1AAuto.com. All right, I raised and supported the vehicle. I'm going to remove the wheel. I'm using a 21mm socket and an air gun. If you don't have an air gun, you can use a breaker bar. Just crack the lug nuts free while the vehicle is still on the ground. All right. Now I want to take the tire off. This one's stuck on there pretty good, so I'm going to put one lug nut on so the tire doesn't go flying, and just hit it on the back side of the tire with a hammer. Break it free. Reason you leave the lug nut so the tire doesn't go flying. I'm going to take the lug nut off and pull the tire off. I want to take this push pin out here, there's one here, and normally there's probably one here. This vehicle doesn't have that. I'm just going to use a trim tool, pop these out, pop the center out first. And pop those out just like that. Then we can take this panel off, just slide it towards the back of the car. Now I'm going to use a belt tensioner tool with a 14mm bit on the end of it, or a socket. You can try to use a socket and a ratchet, but there's not a lot of room in here, so belt tensioner tool would be more ideal. So we're going to loosen this, pushing it towards the back of the vehicle, and then I'm just going to slide the belt off the water pump. And then loosen up on the tensioner and slide the tool out. Now we can slide the belt off the alternator. It's kind of hard to see up there, and off the AC compressor and off the crank pulley. Pull the belt out. Now under the hood, I'm going to take this cover off. There's these push pins right here. Just take a small screwdriver or something to push down on those push pins. Just a little bit, and then you can release them. Take all of those out. And I'll just slide this out of the way. I'm going to use a 10mm socket and an electric ratchet. If you don't have an electric one, you can use a regular one. Take this bolt off here, and then also there's a bolt down here. I'm going to use an extension for the back bolt. Take that one out right there. Now I'm going to grab the coolant reservoir. I'm just going to slide it over to the side, out of our way. Now I just want to take a 12mm wrench, and right on the center bolt that goes through the tensioner, I'm going to loosen that bolt up right there. It's just easier to use a wrench. There's not much room in there to put a socket and a ratchet. Once you crack it free, it's not that hard to pull the bolt out by hand. Get the bolts all the way out. Just gonna grab the bolt and twist a little bit, and the tensioner will come right off. And there it is. Here's the old parts. Here's the new belt and tensioner from 1AAuto.com. As you can see, the belt is the same size. It's the same as the old one. And the tensioner looks visually the same, has the same machine surfaces, same adjuster. Backside, the pulley's the same. It's got the same alignment pin. Get yours at 1AAuto.com to be ready to rock and roll. You just take the tensioner. I'm just going to get the bolt started. through the tensioner because it'll be a little bit easier. Remember, you have this alignment pin, so that's going to line up with the hole right here, and then you have the hole for the bolt. So line those up. Get that started. All right, so that's gonna go right there. Now I'm gonna tighten that bolt up. Now I'm gonna take my 12mm wrench, get on that bolt and tighten that up. And snug that up real good. That's good. If you wanted to try to get the belt on from up top, you could try that, but it's a little bit easier to get it on from underneath. So you'd have to go around the crank, and you're probably gonna need to go underneath anyway. So around the AC compressor, around the water pump, around the alternator, and then around the the tensioner. But I'm gonna just put it on from underneath. So I'm gonna put this other stuff back for now. All right, I'll put these 2 bolts in, one here and one here. And tighten this up. Just use the 10mm socket and a ratchet. That's good. And put this cover on. Just slide this in position. Just like that. All right, so push these push pins up so the buttons pop through like that, and then push it down, and then push the button down so it's flush. So you just gotta reset all of these, just like that. Put all those back. So we wanna install this belt pretty much the same way the old one came off. I'm gonna start with the alternator up top. Just make sure you get that over the alternator. So have this come down next to the tensioner and next to the crank pulley. You want it to go around the crank pulley, right here. Have it down from the water pump. And I'm just gonna hold the excess belt right here next to the AC compressor. And I'm gonna get the tensioner tool. Put this on the belt tensioner itself. And loosen the tension on the belt and try to wrap it around the AC compressor. All right, and we're able to get that around there. Just make sure it's all around all the pulleys. Loosen up the tensioner and just double check. Everything looks good. Now it's a good idea to just bump the starter real quick and just make sure, or start the vehicle and shut it off real quick and just make sure the belt's all set, and then you can put the cover right on. We'll just take this panel, slide this back in position. Just like that. Take the push pins, get the push pins back in, right there, right here, right here. And then if you had that one, put that one in there, and then you can put the tire back on. Now install the tire. Take the lug nuts, install the lug nuts. Now I lowered the vehicle down to the ground so that the tire's just touching the ground. And I'm gonna torque these with a 21mm socket and a torque wrench to 76 foot-pounds. And I'm gonna do this in a star pattern. The reason you do it in a star pattern is so that the wheel gets tightened down evenly. And then I always like to go around again just to double check. Then you're good to go.
Thanks for watching. Visit 1AAuto.com for quality auto parts shipped to your door, the place for DIY auto repair. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the subscribe button.